Okay, today I'm going to show you how to get started with using REAPER, SoundQ, and our current assignment, which is the Sound Design Challenge, and how to get all this put together. So I'm going to go ahead and insert our video. I downloaded the ice drop video, and we're going to insert that into our REAPER project, and we're going to view the video window, which will make it a hair smaller. So now we can see it all on the same screen, and you'll see now this track shows us the video only. And since there's no sound with the video, this is empty. If there was sound, you would see a sound file or a sound wave there. So let's insert a new track where we can put our sounds. And the first thing I want to do is find a splash for this first moment right there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit M, which creates a marker. And also, just to note, I've turned off the snap feature so that we can get things much closer than you might with when you're making music. The snap feature snaps things to bars, beats, things like that. So we don't want to have that option. All right, now I'm going to go into SoundQ. And I've logged in using the login that you have used in your previous assignments. So go ahead to our very first assignment of the semester, and it tells you how to do that. And I'm going to search water splash. And I'm just going to listen to so that's a bit too splashy. Let's try another one. It's getting closer. Let's try the pool splash here. There we go. That's definitely got more of the sound that we're looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to REAPER. So I've got the option to send to REAPER. SoundQ can send it to all these different platforms: Pro Tools, Premiere, REAPER. Drag and drop means it just drops right into the wherever you drag it to. So if you don't have your option here, you can use that. And then we have the disk. So you can drag it to a folder on a disk or send it to a folder on your disk. So it's just going to send it straight over to REAPER. And because I didn't have the track selected, it put it on the, let's get this organized again, put it on the wrong track, which is okay. We can fix that just by dragging things around. I'm going to shorten this because we want to actually use this part of the sound. I'm going to line it up right at my marker here. And then I don't need any more of this, so I'm just going to cut it off. I'm going to select the end here and just hit S. And S will automatically split our audio. Select this half and hit Command X, which will delete. Okay, now let's see if this lines up. Okay, so I'm going to shorten this quite a bit. We don't need most of it. I'm going to put a little fade at the end. You can see the fade tool is at the top here. And then this is the length tool. Let's try it one more time now. That's got an interesting sound. Now, one thing I want to do is just make it a little bit longer, since this is a slow motion video. I'm going to drag it, and I hit the Alt or Option key, which depending on your platform, and I'm just dragging it to make it, to stretch it just a little bit longer, and see if that helps with the slow motion quality. I'm going to rewind. It's a little bit longer now, and you'll see if I do it too much, I'm going to drag it quite a bit. It starts to distort a little bit. You can kind of hear it starts to get grainy or kind of flangey. right? We don't want that. So Maybe do a little bit more there, but that's generally working out for us. So again, the time stretch tool is just simply hold Option, and you get this little time stretch, allows you to stretch your audio right there on the track. All right, it's looking good, sounding good. It's not quite the right depth though, so we want to pitch it down a little bit. And so I'm going to find the pitch shifter. So under the JS stands for JavaScript. These are custom plugins that were written in Reaper's scripting language called Rescript, which is another video if we're going to talk about that. But we're just going to add this plugin and shift it down an octave for now. And it kind of distorted it a little bit. Let's just do semitones, and let's just do like 5 semitones, like kind of half an octave there. Okay, it's an interesting quality, and it works for the visual. But we want to add, which we're going to just kind of leave this where it is for now. And we're not done, right? We still have a lot more layers to add. But we're going to find something else that can add some depth, something a little deeper. So let's just see if there's any explosions. All right, that's a bit much. This is also a multi-channel file, so we really can't use this on a stereo system. Let's try something else. All right, maybe not quite what we're looking for. What if we add the word water? Not there. It's beginning. Not quite. Well, that's got an interesting quality to it. Let's try it again from the beginning. That's probably too much. Probably too much. It's got an interesting sound, but the envelope doesn't work for the doesn't really work. This one didn't really work for the shape of the video. So let's try this. Let's try this. Let's go back to Reaper and make sure we've set up our track right. So we have this track here. We're going to call this Water Explosion. And this one will just be called Splash. I'm just double clicking in these windows and renaming them. So we want to make sure we're at the beginning. I hit the letter W. As you can see here, if I hit this key, it gives you at the end there, the letter W is your shortcut key. So I hit W, I rewind it. Let's go back to SoundQ and send it to Reaper. All right, now let's just slide it over. See if we can match it to our marker point. A little bit of extra audio in there. Is there anything better? I feel like there's a better one out there. I like that one better. I'm going to replace it with this one. All right, so since it's way too big, we got to split it again. I'm just going to go to somewhere near the end, hit S, click the remainder and hit Command X. And I'm going to shorten it up here. Whoops. Don't want to do that yet. Just line it right up with our splash here. And then we're just going to do a bit of a fade at the end. and hit W, and let's see what happens. Okay. I like that a lot better. I'm going to add in a envelope, a volume envelope. So if you hit this trim, it gives you all the stuff that you can automate in Reaper on that particular track. And the more stuff you add under your effects, the more options you'll have. So I just selected volume, and I'm just going to hit Command, and I think on Windows it might be Control click. I'm just going to add a volume fade here. So this is just to show you that you can do automation on almost anything on your tracks. This would be good if you had like multiple audio regions and you wanted to fade them all out, and you might have had little fades at the end like we have here. Combine the two helps kind of consolidate the fade of the whole track. All right, so it sounds good. So we've got some other action right around this point. So right around here, there's some, the video kind of shows the water falling over the edge of the glass. So we need some other kind of splashes or sloshes to help with that. So let's see what we get if we add water slosh. And we get a lot of options here. That might be something that could work. Let's try that. So let's add a new track. Okay, go back to the beginning. We're going to add in the clip. All right, so I think this first one is a bit too aggressive. So I kind of like this. Whoops. All right, I was editing both at the same time. All right, let's just try these. And then let's find the spot real quick that we want the audio to line up. I think right around here is good. I'm going to add a M marker there. And let's see if there's another spot where it kind of rebounds, like right there. That's another good spot to see if we can line up any sort of sloshing. And come on. Maybe right there too. So let's slide these over and see if they kind of line up at all. And I'll cut this part off, but we might use it later, so let's just keep it off to the side there. Let's see what we get. It actually kind of fits. It's not perfect, and again, if I really wanted to get detailed on this, I would record some of my own sounds with the video called Foley, and then they would match a lot better. But I'm just trying to show you what you can do with the library and how you can use it, because it's not going to give you the exact sounds that you might be looking for that match with your audio. You have to kind of manipulate things and try things out. So let's try that, and then let's see if we can find another one, a little quieter one, like a much. That is kind of a nice moment. No. Let's zoom out here. What about here? Actually, I think this one was better. So I'm just going to cut this bit out. So I just do SS. I'm going to delete that. This is non-destructive audio here. So what happens is that if I ever want more of the audio, I just go to the end of this and I click and drag the length, and it's still there. It's just basically creating a new region. So this was kind of a moment right here where I thought we could use some. I'm just going to go right over the top here and just truncate this bit. I don't need the end of that. Let's just see what we get. Let's go back about here. Okay. So sloshes are okay. They're a little loud. And let's add in our pitch shifter. And let's just kind of see what we get. We're going to shift it down just a little bit. 3 or 4 semitones is fine. Okay, that's good. I'm can live with that because we're going to add in some more sounds that kind of mollify all the other sounds together. I'm going to add a fade in here so that we can fade in all tracks. I'm sorry, all regions on the track. And then I'm also going to add, I'll eventually add reverb to everything at the end, kind of show you how that works. Let's see, let's find one more thing. Let's just add something that has a little bit more of a musical tone to it. In our class today we did bells. I'm going to try something else. Let's see if we have a metal clangy triangle here. All right. Let's see what let's see what we can do with that. Let's bring it over. Where did it put me? Let's get rid of that. I don't think it put it anywhere. Let's try again. Let's do a different track. I want to put this one closer to the attack here. Nope. I don't want to put it in the attack. There. Okay. We'll call this triangle. Now it's not going to work as is, so try again. There we go. So if we do it as is, it's going to probably sound silly. So this is what it would be like. It just sounds silly. So we're going to try a couple of things here. Let's shift it. You're kind of seeing a theme here. Pitch things down and makes everything sound totally different. Let's see. And we're just going to solo it for a second so we can just hear it as it. It's a little clangy. Let's try that. I like everything but the attack. So if we fade into this, we get that shimmery. And then here let's try something. I'm going to duplicate the track. And I'm actually just going to I don't know, bring it down a hair more, and then now we have 2 tracks together. Create a little bit of tremolo dissonance, and let's just get that fade in. I'm going to select both and change the fade on both. And let's just see what that sounds like with everything now. And I can also bring it down just a hair in the mix and hit W and one more time. It gives it a very interesting quality when it hits the water, that shimmering We are feeding, or we are clipping a little bit. So we're gonna have to bring down a few of our, oops. Where's our explosion? Yeah, maybe our explosion is a hair loud too. And let's try it again. Cool. Well, you could continue to keep experimenting with more layers. Right? You could try like water drops and listen to these and see if anything, right, anything like that you want to add as another layer, especially for the tail of our particular video. I think things down here can kind of have somewhat more of a fantastic ethereal quality. I want to do two more things. One is I think that the water explosion can have a little bit more depth to it, and I'm going to add a really basic delay. And so I'm just going to use redelay, the Reaper's built-in delay, and it just kind of gives it this, it's going to kind of fill it out a little bit. Let's just try, we don't want complete feedback, and I also just want to filter out the highs and leave the lows. Let's see what that does for us. Let's just solo it. Let's try it. That's a bit quick. Let's bring it down a hair. Bring it down a bit more here. Let's try again. Yeah, we're gonna quickly save. I'm gonna call this SD demo 2 because it's my second one. Here we go. Okay, I'll leave that for now. All right, so that's something we could play around with just to kind of get the depth of our initial impact. I'm going to add effects to our master, and this is going to add then, I'm going to add just a little bit of reverb to everything. I mean, you can try different presets. I'll just try one, dark corridor. Let's see what that brings us. And we don't need it to be very loud. In fact, probably just a little bit of reverb in there will give us some nice echoes. And because things are in slow motion, having a little reverb kind of helps with that kind of that feeling, to get that mood. And so let's say we love that. I would probably continue to work on it a little bit, you know, fine-tune things, maybe find a few more sounds. But generally speaking, that's how you want to work, is you find sounds that have maybe particular qualities. You're not going to find the perfect sound. Like if I say slow motion ice drop, it gives you a frowny face, because that's just not how it works. You got to piece sounds together and edit them and change them so they fit your project appropriately. And we're loving this. Then we can go ahead and hit render. And in your render, you want to make sure your format on your primary output is FFmpeg encoder. And depending on whether you're Windows or Mac, it'll give you different options, but AVI or MOV is fine. On Mac, it should default to MOV if you choose this, and in Windows, it might not even be there. I don't know. So AVI is fine too. Then you just want to make sure you know where you're saving it and what the file name is. You can also browse and choose a particular location. Make sure that it's set to the entire project, unless you're working you know, in some other area of your project. And you can also see down here the bounds, the time bounds. This is a 10-second video, so this looks good. If it said something like, 40 seconds, you might have some audio in there that is trailing beyond the end, and maybe it's thinking that that's the end of the project. So just double check that and then hit render. And it'll take a minute. And when it's done, make sure that you check it before you upload it. So we're going to see if it worked for us. So we go to the SDDemo2 folder, and here is our rendered video. And that looks good. So in Reaper, I used tabs up here today that you can do different versions. So this is another version I did earlier today. It's similar quality. I use some of the same sounds. Some of them are different, but you can have different takes more or less and kind of just see what works. And it's a nice way to work on sound design when you're not exactly sure what you're doing. You can kind of experiment here, and then you can copy some of those tracks over here and work on a more polished version of the project. Okay, well, that is our tutorial for the day. I appreciate you all watching. This is Dr. Essler, GCC Music Industry Studies. I'm out.